Okay, let's go. Showing the live of a little bit earlier. Hold on. Yeah, there we are. Right. Okay, so programming some weapons. Right, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So yeah, I do believe I fixed this. The artifact bug from earlier. And we want to program in some new weapons. And I have my list here. So program weapons. Reverse knockback. So we're going to need our player controller. And we have, and we're going to ask for scythe. Which one has reverse knockback? So I'm going to look at weapons. Knockback equals minus. Okay, impaler. All right. So we want to check on the impaler. We don't have a sprite for it at the moment. So we're just going to have to see. And I just want to see if this works out of the box. If we give a negative knockback, will it pull the enemy towards me? Let's find out. Just give it a bit of time to load. There we are. Yeah, it's taking longer and longer to start a scene. Wonder if there's anything I can do about that. All right, so we just want the vanilla with the green planes, and we want to see if our impaler weapon, first of all, is it going to give me an error because I don't actually have a sprite. Oh, hello. Bug straight away of something completely unrelated. Okay, let's see what's causing that. So this is going to be to do with faction. Do we not have a faction set? Okay, so that's probably being set somewhere else. So let me think. I guess we can just say, we can just put it in. So let's do the same for Beanie. This is, like, it doesn't matter if this is too tidy because the point is, yeah, I mean, it's not going to come up very often. For each starting talent, so for each hero, there's going to be one of these, and I just need to, I think it's probably a question of player.faction is probably set somewhere else. It's probably set in GM, and I guess that's coming after this script. And rather than mess around with that juju, I can just tell it which faction name to use. And yeah, quick one just to see if the impaler works. Okay, so straight away, what's going on there? Impaler. Do we need an empty list of prereqs? Yeah, okay, we do have prereqs. for each string s in upgrade.prereqs. Upgrades. I think I know what's going on here. Okay, so we can, just for the purposes of testing, we don't actually need to put anything in this box. That should do. I think that's it, because it didn't find an upgrade. Because it was looking only for black bean weapons. This is why game development takes a long time. It's not because making the thing does stuff. It's just, you just constantly get sidetracked. Okay, so we have a hidden weapon. Okay. The weapon effect hasn't been applied. Okay, so let's have a look at that. We want to look at our main game. GM. Weapons. Would it be weapons? Yeah, it would be weapons. And so, yeah, we have a lot of these empty effects. So one thing that I can start to do is put the effect in, even if, yeah, okay, so let's do that for all of these. So before we even get to the task at hand, we're going to have a little job now of putting the right effects to the right weapons. So, a sword has a slash effect. And we'll have the same standard whoosh. So this is just something that needs doing. Little bit tedious. Okay, yeah, and I think the spear also ends up having a slash effect. Even though maybe it should have some kind of piercy thingy, but no, we're going to go with a slashy. Okay, and we're just going to try and copy standard whoosh, and then what did the spear have? Spear whoosh. So yeah, this is gonna be tedious remembering these sound effects. Spear whoosh. Okay. So the sprites will still be missing, that's fine. Scythe sprite, scythe effect. That's also a slash. And spear whoosh. Can always change the sound effects later, but I want something that kind of makes sense. And the Chris effect is also a slash. I mean, most of these are just slashes, but there will be the odd smash. And of course, the magic weapons have a different one entirely. So Chris effect is a slash, and then dagger. Do we have dagger? Do we have whoosh? Small whoosh. And then the bow, of course, the weapon effect is a projectile, being our simple bow effect. And what we can do later down the line is make it a sort of black arrow. Should be quite fun. But for now, yeah, don't ask why this is grapple hit. It's from a different game, but I just found the sound worked really well. So looking at our bow, grapple hit 2, okay. Right. Staff of Resurrection. That's going to need its own thing. But for now, just for the sake of making it work so we can test, because I want to try and program all of the effects of these new weapons. So let's look at effects and let's get the same effect that we have for a heal for now. And we're going to need to look at sounds. Let's just focus on effects for now, because I think sounds are slowing us down. be nice to sort of get to grips with the sounds and then we do them all at once. All right, so Staff of Command effect. Can also just use a heal for now. Wait, no, that's a buff. So what we use is... What do we use for the other buffs? Drum effect, smash effect. Totem effect. Oh yeah, because for a time I thought about giving them all their own circle. So I think we could just copy, like, I guess we'll just make one called buff effect. Which is just empty, but you know, let's just have some consistency. Point it to something that we can kind of be clear on what it is. So yeah, buff effect. And then Ice Greave is a sword. So effects, and we're going to have something similar to the lightning sword. Yeah, I need to look into that, but I'll just give it the fire sword effect for now, and then it'll be obvious. I'm just going to give them all an existing placeholder. Chains. I'll give it the chain lightning. Gravestone is a smash effect. Kusari is a slash effect. Lantern is a beam. Where are my beams? Ice beam. Yeah, let's just use ice beam. So that we've got a placeholder visual so I can see these things happen. And then when it comes to replacing them, I can kind of go through each one and go, okay, so ice beam would be, so the lantern effect would probably be like a kind of ghostly green rather than ice blue. Staff of Resurrection effect, Super Staff of Resurrection. I need to improve that. Super Staff of Command is a buff effect. Okay, let's do, and let's just, while we're here, let's do the demon weapons as well, just to save a bit of future time. Mega Demon Sword. Huh, oh yeah, okay, yeah, Mega is just the old hammer is a smash effect. Pretty simple stuff here, but claw is a slash. Mirror effect. I don't think we need an effect for... What do we have for drum? Sorry, for plank. None. Okay, we leave none then. And it shouldn't cause any bugs if we have none. Mirror. Sacrifice. I have no idea what that's meant to look like. But let's just use heal in that case then. And yeah, we'll see how these actually end up looking. Demon Greatsword slash. Ground effect. Grond is a sort of hammer. Trident. Sky Ripper. I mean, it'd be cool if that had like a triple slash. But we'll get to those kinds of things later. Visuals. Necronomicon. I can't even remember what that does. What does Necronomicon do? We have a brief look at my trusty Miro board, which tells me about all these things. So what am I looking at? Necronomicon. Heals and buffs. So it's just like the... So I'll actually use buff effect. And I'll use Yeah, I'll just use blank buff effect for now. Behelit. What does Behelit do? Drains HP and allies. So that will be like a big wide effect. Hopefully get the reference there. And yeah, okay. That'll do then. Oh, electrified buff. Oh, okay, yeah, we need a buff to show someone's been electrified. So this points to this points to this. So we need our sort of generic lightning symbol. Let's just get that out of the way. Projectiles. I'll just put it in the same... effects. Yeah, flame. Let's look at... so where is this? Sprites. Projectiles. And we want our lightning bolt. Should I make it straight? Just for that symmetry. So this tells you that you're electrified. This will do for now. I'm not going to spend too long here. Yeah. Okay. Scrappy does it. And then we have our electrified buff sprite. So that will show you, that'll show up when you have been electrified to let you know that you have been electrified. Okay. Now, back to where we were. To actually reprogram some weapons. Or program in the first place. And we want to see if Impaler just works out of the box. Hopefully it does. So it's there, trust me. What I need to do is I think what actually would be better is if I go into Sean, the hero, just so that he doesn't have any other weapons, and I can just type in here Impaler and that'll make that one of his starting weapons. And just for the sake of well, no, we don't. Like, I was thinking of just putting a spear as a default icon there. But what we should see is nothing. It doesn't seem to do any knockback. Okay, so I think I actually have a thing that if the knockback is greater than 0, so let's have a look at that. So, in the character, knockback, I think it's take damage, but knockback, greater, not less than, no. And it would actually end up being in AoE effect. Knockback is greater than 0. So no, we want if knockback is not equal to 0. So knockback. Everything okay? Oh dear. Kids at home. I just hear my wife yelling my son's name. And then I hear the other baby screaming. So hopefully everything's alright. Good old working from office is probably recommended. Working from home, because you do just end up distracted with what's happening at home. Okay. Right. Yeah, it looks like it's working. I mean, so my immediate thought is, yeah, that he kind of came a bit closer to me. My immediate thought is that for this weapon, the range should be quite extreme. And also the other thinking is, do we even want negative knockback? Like, is that useful in any circumstance? I mean, yeah, if the range of the weapon is quite extreme and we want to sort of pull the enemy towards us, that sort of works. And then do we have some kind of target knockback? Force out of 50. Okay. We want to take force in this instance as an absolute, meaning that if it's a negative value, read it as a positive value, because otherwise it will just kind of be instantaneous, because we're taking a negative value out of 50 would basically be not the same. So yeah, mathf.abs force. So we reset them and then push them in the direction, and this lasts the amount of time, yeah. And the amount of time that we wait before they sort of get back to being active again is sort of the force out of 50. That's how long we wait. Yeah. Okay. Alright, so reverse knockback does just kind of work out the box. There's things to consider with, like, do we even want this? And if we did, it would have to be a very high range weapon, because otherwise it's not really worth it. And among other things, such as, and it's got me thinking now actually, having effects that trigger when you touch something. But for now it's fine. I mean, even if it just ends up being a bit of flavor. Alright, resurrection. Oof. Sacrifice, consume, double mirror. Look, I'm going to knock out the easy ones first. So double mirror. Recently, did I do this recently? I'm not sure I did actually. A universal mirror effect. Yeah, I did, but the effect is different for each type of thing. So let's look at our most commonly used AoE effect, which is all going to change soon, but if the script is there, we have something to change, basically. So we want to say try block. Okay. And reverse targets. So there will be, what I want here is to create an effect where maybe the mirror effect is not only mirrored, but it's doubled. Which actually means we would need to make another. So what happens is if something is mirrored, we just reverse the targets, meaning that the thing will still happen. So we reverse the position. So if it's a beam, never mind that. Let's just think of a normal, like, melee attack. It moves over to the person who did it. Wait, didn't we change this to shooter? Okay, that was something that we undid. So that returns back to the person who did it. And then the targets are reversed, meaning anyone who was not a target is now a target, and anyone who was a target is now not a target. And then we remake the hit list. And then we trigger the thing. In the event of a double mirror, and so what I'm thinking of adding here is an effect which would, like, if you send me something, I send it back to you twice, which completely changes this whole vibe, because essentially what we would have to do is say, like, if would we have a third case? So we go try block, and then there's our things that trigger block procs, block mirror, and then double mirror would be like so let's just start typing. Double mirror, defense type is 3, but I wanted how did I do it here? Block mirror. So we had one where block procs, it's like stoic summon, stoic heal, stoic explosion, stoic buff, stoic minus, stoic reset. Did we not have stoic reflect? Turns it into, basically just changes the defense type to 2. But we don't have one which is like it can do it twice. We could have a an artifact which means that every time you reflect something, it could reflect it twice. Or it could even mean that if you have a mirror already and you have this thing which might reflect it, that it would have the double mirror effect. So the way that would work is like this. Like this. And then type 3 would be like this. And then we return the defense type. So then we have our AoE effect. So we try block, and then in case 3, we say oh, is that return? Case 3. 1, and then let's just copy this for now. Like that. So, yeah, we still would require a character in this case because we need someone to reflect it to. This would all be the same, except in addition to reversing the targets. So we're not going to create another one. We're just going to magnify the effect. Right? So we're going to say... So everything is the same, except in addition to the other things, we're going to take our... so this is all reading from a weapon. So do we have damage here? Damage, knockback. Yeah, so we say damage times equal to knockback. We'll just take everything. Knockback. Double it. There's got to be other things. buff. Should we like double the value of the buffs? No, I think that's a bit excessive. Yeah, we just doubled the damage and the knockback. And I think we should transform dot local scale times equals 2. Like that. And so we've doubled what was there. That should work, actually. That should work pretty much out of the box. I reckon that's going to work. Okay, we also need, so I'm going to find all instances of try block. So there's not that many. So we have one in AoE effect, that's one we just did. We have one in... yeah. Yeah. So I need to figure this out, actually, because yeah, it's the same thing happens. So I do just want to copy this over here, right? The reason it happens twice is because basically it's like the AoE effect like persists. So let's say I created like a bit of fire, like a flame strike on the floor. First, what we're going to do is give everyone a chance to block it, and that's what happens here. And then what if I have the mirror shield and I walk into an already existing flame strike effect on the floor? We still want to do the same thing. And then we don't need to worry about hits, we just reverse targets. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, and of course the target list will have changed, so we can't like, this can happen twice, but it's not likely. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we need to do this for, so we have also in character. Okay, that is the actual thing. And we have it in projectiles as well. So we don't need to worry about a character in this case. We change the direction, so that stays the same. And we don't need to worry about any of this. We reverse the targets. We change the shooter position, so that would just stay the same. Shooter position. Why would shooter position be different? Wouldn't we want shooter position to be the person that was hit? So this would be not shooter.transform position, that would be target. Yeah, other.transform.position. I'm going to go out on a limb and just do that. Other. This is less likely to be wrong and need changing than the alternative. And then we're doing the same thing. We're increasing damage, we're increasing knockback, we're increasing the size, which should be like a nice visual. Is there anything else we ought to be... Like we could do like speed, chains, pierce. But I think damage is enough. Okay. And then the final place that we'll be wanting to do this is over here. So we want to take our AoE effect version, pop it in here. And we don't need to know about the character. We know that there's a character. We know there's a shooter. The position. So we just basically copy this. And then how do we get our damage? Okay, so this would be... but we don't want to increase... So we need a way to... yeah, we don't need to worry about scale. We need a way to... so we need a way... So damage, like... We don't want to increase the damage of the weapon that's on, because this is actually just reading directly from the weapon. So we can't say raise your damage, because that will actually just permanently raise the damage of the weapon in question. So where do we actually... so when we actually do the damage... Okay, so what happens is we make an AoE effect. Complicated. Yeah, we make an AoE effect at each thing that's hit, as long as it's not blocked, right? That's what that means. So it hasn't been blocked. As long as it hasn't been blocked, we make an AoE effect, which has the damage of the weapon. So if it's been reflected during the chain, it will just reflect the chain damage, like with the weapon as it is. So what we might want to do... that's so dodgy. That's so dodgy. We could do like a really funky one. So it would be like a bull doubled. Right, bear with me. Equals false, just for clarity. If doubled is true, if doubled, then do it again. Doubled equals true. I think that will do it. Yeah, I think that'll do it. No, it's one, but it's more and more like, if I was to look back on this code a bit later, if I come back to this, what's tech stack mean? This is for a chain attack, so it's like, I don't know what tech stack means. I'm a self-taught programmer, so I don't know all the jargon. This is a chain attack, so it's like this chains between a few targets, and it's like my brain always hurts whenever I come into this code. But basically, if I can explain it, this is helpful to. So yeah, we point the weapon at the target. We check the distance. If the distance is in range, then we do it. I'm using C# in Unity with like the Unity engine. Yeah, well, that's just because I'm not a very good programmer. Like, it probably should look cleaner than this. It's not all this complicated. This is just the chain attack where things get a little bit brain melty, right? So let's talk through this code. So we make a new list of targets, because this is not going to be the same as just, and then we get an int, which is this chain, which is the amount of the chain stat, which tells you how many times it's going to chain, of the weapon plus the character. You with me so far? Because the character might have a kind of global, like, I have got 2 chains on every attack that I do. And my weapon here has 3 chains on it, so that would be 5 chains. So that's what this chain is. We get our target, which is already our target. active shooter is the character. The reason we need to store these is because they might change. And then we make a new list based on valid target list. Forgive me if some of this might just be like redundant, but that's just because, like I said, I'm not a professional programmer. Doubled is something we've just made to tell us, has this been doubled? So a lot of the complicatedness around this comes down to the fact that we might reflect the chain attack partway through. So while this chain is greater than 0, so this is going to keep happening until the chain has depleted. So again, in the case of 5. And the first thing we do... Oh, bull blocked. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to question things anymore. Like, this is how it is. So we check for defense. We say it hasn't been blocked. It hasn't been blocked. And then we try block. So we say if there's several types of block, it can just be a straight block, as in this isn't going to... Well, case 0 is it has not been blocked. Case 1 is that it's been blocked. Case 2, it's been reflected. And case 3 is the one that I've just added, which it's been reflected twice. As in, for whatever reason, the mirror effect has been doubled. So we want to increase the pain of the attack, make it bigger, make it stronger, and so on. So if it's been blocked, it stops right there, right? You chain lightning me, I block it, no one else is getting chain lightninged. I've stopped that from happening. So if it's blocked, nothing else really happens. Except for the visual. This is all just the visual effect. This is all just to show, this is all just visual effect showing. So once we've got our list of targets, we say, okay, those are all the people that have been hit. Now draw a bit of lightning in between each of them. And so, but if it hasn't been blocked, then we find the nearest target again. So we go through all the targets in the valid target list. We check that we haven't already hit them, right? So if our list of targets doesn't contain this one, we check that, and then once again we check that they're within range. We check, and then if they're in range, they become our nearest target. Current target becomes nearest target. If there is no more target, we'll stop. Like, we're not going to be chain lightning anyone because there's no one else in range. We reduce the number of chains, and we add that to the target so that we can do our visual effect there. And then now, current target is new. Right? So this chain has gone down by 1. Our current target is new, so we do the whole thing again for our current target, and so on and so on. And that will just keep going until the chain has depleted or it has found no more targets. And then, of course, we do the visual effect. And we reset the weapon as normal. We play a sound effect. We play the weapon animation. And then we find who's next on our list of targets. Which actually should be handled by a third party, but that's fine. Okay, good. All right. I think that's going to work. What I need to do... But currently we have no weapon, so we have Rorim. And this is a very special... So all of this is just for the benefit of a single weapon. But, you know, it's only taken me like half an hour. And so this is a defense weapon, no attack. This Rorim is mirror backwards. How did I learn all of this? Unity. I started on Brachy's tutorials. So if there's any if any people out there want to learn how to code, I think Brachy's tutorials are really, really, really good because they're I don't know, they're just really well made, really comprehensive. I found them really useful. Maybe there's better ones out there, but I really liked Brackeys. And then it's just layering piece by piece. So I've been on this project for a while, yeah. If you love games, then you'll learn how to do it. If you play Factorio or games like that, I find that's a really good way to figure out if programming is for you. If you actually enjoy playing Factorio or Satisfactory or any of those games, if that's actually pleasurable to you, then you can probably learn how to code. If all you play is Fortnite and Call of Duty and FIFA, maybe not. I don't know. You'll probably have to learn at school, but yeah, if you have that kind of, if you're interested, then you can do it. Brackeys is a great place to start. So I'm going to turn this weapon into defense type 3, and I'm going to go to character. I mean, I'm pretty certain this is going to work. And I'm going to go to my player controller, and I'm going to make a cheat, which gives me the Rorium. And what we should see, it's going to be hard to tell, is that when I block an attack with the Rorium in my hand, then yeah, we saw that 2 times counter thing, so that's telling us that that code played. Yeah, and it's a pretty effective counter, so that's working. Will it work with projectiles? So there's a couple ways we could easily test that. I'll just jump into... I'm pretty confident this is going to work, but I'm just going to be diligent. Enemy spawner. And I'm just going to say that... I should be using page up and down. Some people get frustrated if I use the mouse too much. Ranger. And I'm going to do this the slightly suboptimal way, but I just don't want any other weapons getting in the way. We'll just give him Rorium from here, like that. Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not naturally good at maths, but because I like games like Factorio and stuff, it just means that I end up like that's how I relate to programming. Like if you have that kind of mind, but if you're good at maths and you play shooters, then yeah, I'm sure you can do it. Like if you have any kind of interest in this kind of thing, but if you just know the kind of game that you want to make, you can find out everything, and then the more complicated stuff comes later. Like you say, oh, you know, you'll be making a shooter game or whatever. You'll be making COD Zombies kind of game, and you'll be like, oh, the game is slowing down when I have too many zombies on the scene. So you'll ask around, you'll, you know, ask a chat GPT, you'll ask other people around you if you have any. I don't really, who know about this stuff. But one day I saw a little post about object pooling. And the idea behind object pooling is instead of using instantiate, so Unity is instantiate thing, right, to make it appear, you instantiate like 100 of them, or however many you need right at the start. You have a little loading screen. And then when one of them dies, instead of deleting the object, you just kind of turn it off and hide it. And then when you need a new one, you kind of turn that, you kind of reset it and then turn it back on. and that's called object pooling. And that's going to mean when you've got loads of things spawning in, it's going to be it's not going to cause your game to slow down. For example, machine gun bullets. If you actually have physical bullets flying out of the machine gun, you're going to want to load like 1,000 bullets, because if the game is creating new objects and deleting objects rapidly, it's going to stutter the game. So yeah, kind of tangent there, but yeah, you'll just run into issues, and then you'll run into solutions, and it's a good time. We live in a time now where if you're interested in games, you can make them. Okay, wait, Stoic Reflect. So that we could actually end up... Okay. Oh, great. Lovely, that's working. Yeah, okay. So the only problem there is I need to... change the facing. I mean, I guess it's probably fine. Projectile. Escape from... I'm not that interested in Escape from Tarkov, but I almost bought Escape from Duckov when it was on sale the other day. That game looks like up my street. But yeah, I'm not very good at shooters. That's the thing. The only ones I have played a bit of are, and they're not really shooters, but like Vermintide. I like playing as the night guy with the rifle, and I'll get some good. If on a good day, I'll get some good headshots. But no, I get bored of shooters. Probably just because I'm not very good at them, and I like playing games that I'm good at. Strategy, that kind of thing. Okay, so projectile. And then do we change direction? So that's changing the direction of the gun, of the bullet. But then where do we actually... Where do we actually set the... Thank you. Yeah, the thumbnail... I've had compliments on the thumbnail before. Okay, set direction. Wait. Rotation. Okay. Angle. Oh god. Yeah. The thumbnail. Instantiate the projectile with the correct. So we get angle. I think I got an AI to help me with this bit. Like, is it okay? Do we want the arrows to turn back and look at the person? Like, so if I deflect an arrow, should it turn around? I think it should, right? So, yeah, rotate the y-axis to be angle. So, we can have a little update heading, update rotation, where we do that. Oh yeah, RimWorld. RimWorld is one of my top games, 100%. Oh wait, this is just for making the shrapnel. But yeah, RimWorld is totally it. I haven't modded so much in it, but RimWorld is one of those games that I always go back to. I'm always coming back to RimWorld. I've got many hours in it. Other games are Oxygen not included. It's my favorite style of game, I think. I never played Dwarf Fortress, but I really like that genre. That's where I wanted to make some of my first games. Like I was like, what if I could be trapped on a planet, but I'm just a blacksmith? I'm not going to do anything else except be a blacksmith, and I'm going to buy food from traders in exchange for selling them weapons. And then I made a game called Blacksmith, and yeah, that's loads of fun. Yeah, so well done for recommending that, because it 100% right on target recommendation, because that is my jam right there. Mind Over Magic is also pretty good, underrated game. I quite like that. Same genre as Oxygen Not Included. Right, where was I? Yeah, so I think when we make a projectile, that is when we set the direction. Yeah, so we do that angle. Okay, so what I want to do, is there any reason that that was split up by, no, I don't think so. I think that's just the way I put it. Okay, so we're going to create a little public void, pubic void, on the, and so we're going to say projectile dot update. What do we call it? Update rotation. Proj script. So messy. Dot update rotation. And then we don't need this. And then in the projectile, that's where that goes. Angle is bippity boppity boo. Magic words. And then we don't need to refer to ourselves. And then when we, and then so we have this Atan 2, this magic spell. And I'm going to say shrapnel proj dot update rotation, and when is reflected, so we've updated the direction, so I think it's fair to just go right here, update rotation. There we go. And again here. And I think that will work. Let's give it a whirl. And then hopefully we can delete this. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. Resurrection, I'm probably going to leave for another day. This one just showing up twice, like, hey, try this. No. Okay, so yeah, I've got my reflector. Oh, we changed the goblins back. Okay, I'm just going to speed up time so that we can get some ranges in the mix. Haha! It worked. And then, 2 times counter. Yeah, there's no way that was a single piece of damage. Lovely. Okay, so the Rorim works. 2 down, 3 to go. Okay, so these should be fair. Okay, Resurrection is tricky. Because what we want to do, and I need to think, this is Warbeans. I'm going to change the name to Army of Survivors, which should hopefully tell you a bit more of what this game is. So this is a survivor-like. I need to undo the Rorim stuff. This is a survivor-like, so Vampire Survivors, Brotato, and yeah, I thought I thought I'd seen your name before. Yeah, well, it's much better. The stuttering in the late game. So we go back to sword for Sean. It's much better. So the main thing that I did was, so yeah, we took the stuff from. So there's no fixed update. There's no update, and there's no fixed update in character anymore. Right? We took all of that stuff and we put it in the central controller. We put that in GM. And that tidied things up. And then at first, it kind of actually slowed things down a bit. But then we went into, so update all... Yeah, so we have update characters. And so we're doing all this buff stuff and all of this character stuff from a central controller rather than having this run on each character. And then the big kicker was yield return null right here, which means stop, which means wait till the end of each frame before continuing. So we wait a frame as we process each character. We're just kind of waiting a frame between each one, which means that if the game starts to freak out because there's too much happening, rather than stuttering, rather than letting the frame rate suffer, you'll just see that characters take a little bit longer to update their animations. And then same with update all targets. We just wait for the end of the frame before we update each target. And again, what you'll see is, and you probably won't see it actually, but if your game is really, really struggling, instead of stuttering, you'll just sort of see characters like take a little bit longer to pick their target, which I think is a lesser evil. Could that be mechanically, like, could you play on a really slow computer to I don't know, just to make characters pick their target slower? I don't think that'll help you much. It'll be hard to predict. So yeah, there's that. There is one, and also fixed update of just like all of their movement is now handled on a for each loop in the fixed update over here. So this used to exist on each character, but now it just exists on the central controller, being the GM. So for each character in the game, make them move towards their target by adding physics, and that really, really made the game run smoother, because instead of like two different characters sort of bonking into each other and hitting each other's colliders and messing with each other's speed, we're sort of doing it one by one. So like one person will bonk into this one and then he'll bonk back, but they'll never be bonking at the same time, basically. And yeah, it's much, much better. The next thing we have to do is, and this is going to be a huge one, is the way AoE effects work is on trigger enter here, and we have this one attack, which basically just gives people a chance to block it before we go into the attack, and then people can still block it after that. But and this runs on this is on trigger enter, which is technically quite expensive. It sort of made the most sense to me, but actually, yeah, this is too expensive. So what we should be doing instead is a raycast sphere, right? So we just do one time, like get colliders that are in the range, and all the code will be the same. But what that will mean is that we're not actually creating an object that has all of this stuff stored in it, which actually, to be honest, isn't that much stuff. But at least for the standard ones, we can take this, and when the weapon container creates an AoE effect, creates an AoE, which it says magic attack, but this actually applies to melee weapons as well. it should be not making an AoE effect. It should be making a raycast sphere. And I think that is going to absolutely be a huge game changer for the for performance. However, that is going to be a bit of spaghetti to untangle. So yeah, that should be fun. Yeah, this applies to buffs. It's the same thing. Yeah, because a buff is essentially just a big magic attack that does no damage. But magic attacks, of course, can have buffs. And just like a melee attack is a tiny magic attack with no buffs, you know. Or it could have a buff, or a debuff, you know. But yeah, a magic attack, a melee hit is basically just a very tiny low range magic attack. It's basically, so they're all the same thing. So this is quite misleading. It should just be AoE attack. And so that's going to be a hell of a job. I've got it up here. Change AoE effect to use overlap sphere, and then I'm going to have to find all the instances of making this AoE script and change it, which is going to be a hell of a job, but I think it's going to improve performance quite a lot as well. And yeah, there's a couple more optimizations I can do. I don't know if this is necessary. But right now, reprogramming weapons. Resurrection is a tricky one. Sacrifice. So I'll just go to my cheat sheet here and have a look at what does sacrifice do. Kills lowest HP ally and heals all others. I'm not going to question whether that's a good design choice. I had a good think about the design when I did it. Consume drains HP of an ally to heal specifically the hero. But this one will be killing an ally to heal everyone around you. So that's the demon thing. It's all about sacrifice and stuff like that. We've got a Behelit for any Berserk fans out there. JetBrains Rider Editor. I don't know about any of that. I mean, you can just use Control F, stuff like that. Make AoE effect. It's not going to be too hard. It's just and there's not actually that many of them. There are some instances where we make an AoE effect. Yeah, no, I'm not struggling to find stuff. It's more so that like basically I'm gonna go in and delete all of this. Right, which sadly isn't going to bring up the thing. I mean, one thing I could do, yeah. I mean, it's not going to be difficult for me to find all instances of AoE effect. Like some of these are blocks, but it's not a crazy amount, right? And a lot of these are just right next to each other. So I'm going to say, okay, so a beam attack makes an AoE effect that looks like this. Well, the beam attack, there's a funny thing, right? A beam attack is a long, thin object. So a raycast sphere isn't going to do it. So I would need to keep this just for beam attacks. Huh. Never mind that. But projectile is like, yeah, we make an AoE effect when the projectile lands, which will be a sphere. So I'd have to take this and say, don't do this. Make an AoE sphere, and I'm going to have to, like, homogenize it. So, like, we will make a bit of code probably over here, which will be make AoE effect. Well, I would say make AoE effect. So here we have this. And instead of instantiating an AoE effect, thing is, we'll still do that for the visual. That's fine. But, basically, we're going to have to do the damage there. Shouldn't spend too long talking about that. Let's just stick to what I'm doing. But yeah. So, consume. Sacrifice is the first one we're doing. So, kills lowest HP ally and heals all others. Yeah, see, I don't know if I can reshape the sphere. I mean, so what I'm doing at the moment is, so we have an effect which is like, here we go, Heal Nova. This is, and if I turn on gizmos, you can see that Heal Nova, and you can see the green sphere there. You can see that. That is the, so anything inside that is caught by the blast of the AoE of that. Same with actually the slash effect, which is for a melee weapon. Anything caught in this blast is going to be hit, right? Same with the heal. Anything caught in this blast is going to receive a heal. And then I have my beams. Where's my beams? At the moment, there's only one. It's the ice beam. And I think I'm going to have to animate that to show it to you. Like that. Anything caught in this blast, which is a cube. And what happens is it stretches based on the range of the weapon. Right? So generally looks like this. And then when you have it upgraded, it looks more like that, right? And that's nice and easy. But if I'm going to be switching to using... So it's possible that I'll be able to... And I should look into this. So I would go like... I would just do like a Google search, like a Gemini, right? And say... wait, let me just do this on my off screen. So can I change the shape of a raycast sphere? Should I add in Unity? Boxcast. There you go. I could do a boxcast. Yeah. So I just do a boxcast instead. So it'd be boxcast, and then we get the size and shape of it. And so that's going to be a brainy job. But at the moment, the game doesn't really stutter too much towards the end. But yeah, that once I do that, that's going to really optimize things. But goddamn, that is going to be a brainy job and a busy job too. So, you know, should be a fun one for a stream, I think. If people are interested in coding, that's going to be a very good one to look at. Changing bad code to good code. Right, resurrection. So this is going to work very similar to a heal. So I need to just engage brain and remember, how do we make a thing that targets friendly people? Friendly heal. Okay? So friendly is simply the one that's going to mean that it attacks someone friendly. So we'll go over to, what was it? Sacrifice. And while technically it's not friendly, it's definitely not friendly, it is, in this context, it's friendly, and it's not a heal. It's not going to heal the target. Okay? And this is like a special thing. It's going to work on completely different rules, because essentially it needs to target someone nearby. So by all measures, by all counts, this is going to be what happens. It is a magic attack type. And so we have this magic weapon. The weapon container will do a magic attack. Because if it's attack type magic, it will do a magic attack. Okay. Magic attack. So what does a magic attack do? All it does is, so this is just for saying bits of speech. It will make an AoE effect there. It will point the weapon at the target, make the AoE effect, which does all the stuff. Reset the weapon timer, play the sound effect, and animate. These are all, like, everything does that. Okay, so what we want so this could like do nothing, right? So we could say that the AoE effect does nothing, but it's going to read the stats from the weapon, and we want the weapon to sort of say what it does based on heal. So we could say, what if there is a new weapon type that targets friendlies but then does its AoE effect? So it targets a friendly, does something to the friendly, kills it, and then does something after that. So this would be a whole new type of attack, right? So it would be public void sacrifice attack, right? And let's just take all of these same things. So in the event of a sacrifice attack, let's just take everything the same. So we're double checking that the character's in range. And we're taking all of this into account, except we're not making an AoE effect like that. So we are, well, yeah, so this will all be the same. This doesn't apply. And we say, so we make the effect, but that's after. We kill the target. Okay, so we kill the target. Target dot like, what did the old, do we still have the melee attack script? It'll basically be like that. I don't think we do. Melee doesn't exist. Yeah, put a debug there just in case something comes up with that. Yeah, so target dot, can I just kill them? Take damage 1000. Let's like, 666. Piercing 1, crit chance 0, lifesteal 0, and damager is nobody. Let's just do that in null, right? So the target dies. And then we make an AoE effect at the target's position with the stats of the weapon, with the character with the character who owns the weapon as the shooter. And the target list so friendly means it will target friendlies, but the target list should be a reverse. The target list should be my team. So it should be anyone who's on the same team as the attacker. I could really easily just do gm.c.team0. This just means the player team. But what if someone else had this attack? There's two ways I can approach this. One is cross that bridge when I come to it, and then with the potential of getting confused when I try and give this spell to another character, and then it ends up like I need to do like anyone who is on the same team. Should characters have a team assigned to them? Character.team. Yeah. Yeah. So it would be like we've got our target list and we've also got our team. And then so team 0.add. There we go. No, team.add. Okay. Yeah, where do we actually? So yeah, it's when an ally is spawned. So when we say spawn ally, we tell them which team to spawn, and team allies will always spawn on team 0. That makes sense because that's the player's team. But enemies team.add team 1. Okay, so enemies at the moment. So I haven't future-proofed this. At the moment, enemies will always spawn in team 1. Whereas in future, actually, they might spawn on team 2 or 3. But basically, all I would do is say character dot. So we've added. So it's like a two-way thing. Character dot team equals gm dot team 1, like that. Very simple. And then over here in ally spawner we go even though it's always going to be team 0, we're just sort of doing our best to future-proof this a little bit. Team.add ally instance dot team equals team, like that. Very simple. And then so wherever we've added someone to a team, so when we add the player as well, and I believe that covers all instances of people joining a team, we say player.team equals team 0. And then if we ever want to just point back, so then I can go in and, sorry, I know I'm doing tangents here, but reverse targets can then mean target list equals target list equals character dot team, and then we say bye bye to all of this, and then we don't really need a function for it, but that's the idea. So here in weapon container sacrifice attack, the target becomes character dot team. These are the people who will benefit, who will be the new targets of the sacrifice attack. So we kill the target and we do an AoE effect on the team, and the AoE effect will be something like Holy Nova. Except we could do exceptions here. Do we want to heal everyone, or do we just want to heal units near the one who died? I think for something like this, kills lowest HP ally and heals all others. Right. We don't actually have lowest HP ally. And this one is also drains HP of an ally to heal hero. So we would have to have a new targeting type. Basically, we want to find the lowest HP ally. Okay, never mind that. Here in weapon container, we don't even want to make an AoE effect. We just say character dot heal all. Do we have that? Heal all, heal ally, heal all allies. Like, let's say weapon dot damage. And then we would have to say, I'm kind of going to half future-proof this, because I don't see a scenario where the enemy does this kind of sacrifice, but for each character in gm.c.team0, in team, in my team, in the team of the person who's doing the heal all allies. Yeah. And then we heal by a positive amount, which would be negative damage. That's how that works. If not, then it will quickly become apparent, and I'll easily be able to fix it. Okay. If weapon dot names, so name 0 is the name in English, dot contains sacrifice. Okay, and now we need to make sure, so we will have so these are just very exceptional weapons. By exceptional, I don't mean good, I mean they have exceptions. So this is not a magic attack, this is a sacrifice attack. And this might be the only weapon which is a sacrifice attack. Right? So we heal all allies. And yeah, if the heal is like negative or something, that'll be a quick fix. And so the weapon sacrifice. So all of these stats, range, AoE, they don't really matter. But the damage is negative. So if I negative that'll become positive. Okay. And so then we want to look at GM, update all targets. And we have different rules for different attack types, although we have different rules based on friendly or heal. So we say if healer, don't target characters at full health, don't target self for non-healers. If friendly, don't target other friendly units. That doesn't make sense. Is that saying buffers shouldn't buff buffers? I think that's vestigial, because I changed it so that so I think that's nonsense code, because basically I changed it so that it used to be that a buffer or a healer would walk towards friendly units, and then I think I changed it so that they wouldn't walk towards other so a healer wouldn't walk towards a healer, because otherwise healers just all clump together. And then more recently I changed it so that, screw it, healers should walk towards the enemy. So they should, their body should target the enemy while their weapons target allies, basically. Weapon containers. Okay, this is the meat I'm looking for. I'm not worried about any of that, because the person who's doing the sacrificing, well, it's going to be the players, so none of this applies anyway, but their weapon so for each weapon container, so for each weapon that the player has, if it's a self-target, just target yourself. If healer, don't target characters and not self. Include self. Exclude self if you're a healer. And so then we say find the nearest target. So somewhere in here, I want to say if weapon.attack type is equal to sacrifice attack type dot sacrifice, weapon container dot target list. Okay, so we have our target list, and we go through our target list and find. Okay, so let's just write this again from scratch, and we'll see where we can like do this. So if, of course, if target dot is dead is equal to false. I think that's probably fairly redundant because they won't be in the target list if they're dead, or they shouldn't be. But let's just keep that for now. Distance. So we're not looking at distance. So if distance let's just do if vector3 dot distance is less than weapon dot range, which should have already been done. This would have to go outside of the. See, this is confusing me. For each target in weapon container dot target list. Okay, yeah, so the target is going to update, but like, so it's going to seek out a target that is closest, and it will only trigger if the target becomes in range. So I need to rethink that a bit. So yeah, we pick our target, because I was just confused. I was like, shouldn't we be checking that they're actually within range of the weapon? And no, because they'll point their weapon and be ready to attack the target once they do enter the weapon's range. But this is a bit different. For sacrifice, so we already have this. If weapon.attack type is equal to a sacrifice, then all we need to check so yeah, we're looking at valid targets, and it's a friendly weapon, so that's already accounted for. If they're not dead. If active self is true. Yeah, I mean, let's just, like, this should all be handled anyway. So let's just assume that that is actually functioning as normal. Because if their active self is false, then they should be off the target list, otherwise a bug has happened. And so here's the thing where we find the nearest one, but I'm not interested in the nearest one. I'm interested in one. Yeah, are you in range? And then we want float lowest HP equals, what was it? Float dot max value. Lowest, and then we just do the same thing as this. If, and then lowest HP would have to come above character, above that loop. Lowest HP if lowest HP is less than if target dot HP dot health HP, current HP, current HP, current health. Jesus Christ. That's why you're supposed to keep these consistency with naming. Is less than lowest HP, then nearest target equals target. Oh, no, yeah, weapon container dot target. Ah, for God's sake. Yeah, we do that. Oh. Yeah, okay. Okay, and that's what we do if it's a sacrifice, otherwise do it like normal. And if you're a healer and you haven't found a healer, you haven't found a target to heal, then heal yourself. Okay, so this should work. And if you haven't found a target, then I think that's fine. Nothing happens. Okay, that works. Oh yeah. Right, so that's gonna target the character with the lowest HP that is within range, and because it's friendly, the target list should include people who are on the same team. Right. Weapons. Sacrifice has the sacrifice effect. Will target the nearest friendly character. Will target the nearest. Will target a character within range who has the lowest HP. And it will sacrifice them to heal all allies. And as for the stats of this weapon, I feel like the attack speed should be quite slow and the healing amount should be quite high. So we're talking like if units spawn in on average, usually around 4 per second, let's make this like 8 second attack speed and not change it. Shouldn't get faster. Faster isn't better here. And the amount that it heals should be quite significant. So like if a unit has if a low end unit has 20 HP, I don't think it would be wrong to heal 20, 24, 28, or maybe, yeah, 20, 28, no, 20, 30. It's a powerful thing. We can always tweak these numbers later. And we heal all like that. And that should be sacrifice. Let's test it. Yeah, no, I'm not struggling with finding stuff. It's just when often I can just do a big find and replace. But often when it comes to making big modifications to code, it's like I kind of want to do it manually. And just like find each thing and go through it. But I don't have a problem finding stuff. Okay. A lot of the things is like, make sure if you're making games that you're naming things properly. Okay. Sacrifice. And that puts us a long way to consume as well, because consume will sort of work similarly. Could cut these moves entirely. But I kind of want to see... Okay, so we'll change this to sacrifice. But this is how I've designed it for now. We could change it. We could just go with something like a more boring, more useful just weapon that does attacks. What's happening then? I think I forgot to put in... Yeah, I forgot to put in attack type. Oh, game over. Oh, I sacrificed myself. That's programming for you. Never put me in charge of a nuclear power station. I'd be like, oh yeah, let's try this. Blow up the whole thing. Right. Okay. Play controller. And we want weapon contain. No, we want sacrifice. And if we want to say if target dot is equal to not equal to character, that'll be a good start. Don't do it to yourself. Don't sacrifice yourself. And so what will happen is that we'll sacrifice the first dude immediately, which will be kind of sad. Well, it's not a very good starting weapon, for sure. There we go. I killed him there. You could see because of the big damage. I killed that one too. Am I even getting a heal from that? It's hard to tell if my weapon's on cooldown because I don't have the sprite. Okay, now I'm gonna die. Heal all allies. Weapon container. Sacrifice. Should I just do like a check on... Let's just do that again. I don't think it was healing. Okay, yeah. But I think it's still healing by the lower amount. So let's do debug.log. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. So that's just 5. It should say amount. Okay, interesting. Very, very silly bug there. Okay, I'm just gonna. I'm not gonna bother testing that again. I think that works. That's happening. Okay, great. Oh, these are the ones that were bugging me. I'm like, these are gonna be a bloody nightmare to code. Consume. So we take. Drains HP of an ally to heal hero. So yeah, the idea behind the demons is it's like really like the demons are going against the IP of the game, basically. It's not about having allies, it's about having a super strong hero. If you're going to play as the demons, you might as well go play Vampire Survivor or Brotato or something. So Behelit will just be like an AoE consume effect. So consume... So yeah, we got... Oh god, we made so much progress today. So we would target an ally, and we would target the nearest ally. So it would just be like an exception. So let's go ahead and look at the weapon, and we say consume. And it counts as a friendly, counts as a heal, which it shouldn't. That's going to be an after effect. This is a friendly weapon. And there's a couple ways we could look at this. I mean, like, so yeah, sacrifice and consume are quite similar. Consume is like slower, but just for the hero. It's like saying, yeah, I just want to focus on my hero, and sacrifice is like, well, like they're both quite hero focused, but at least sacrifice has some emphasis on healing a bunch of people, like healing a group. But consume, there's a couple ways we could approach this. We could do it in a way that makes it easier on ourselves, where we say it will still target the lowest HP ally. So where is our weapon container? So we would just have, like, so the easiest way to do it would be this. So first, let's get rid of these. And we would just say character.heal. Simple, simple, simple. That's all it is. And then it's done. We kill, and then so what we would do is probably make it a bit faster and a bit lower speed, but I think it would be nice if we didn't actually kill. So we would treat this like a friendly attack that will do damage to a friend. So I am going to use I am going to, I think, make a new attack type that is just for this, because then I just don't need to worry about it interfering with anything else. It will target the nearest friendly unit, just like a friendly spell should. So similar to, so in terms of targeting, it will target the nearest unit that has, it will target the nearest unit, the nearest friendly unit. So it doesn't matter if they've got high health or low health. And it will do damage to them. So then here's where it changes. Consume attack will do damage. But if I don't make it clear that so sacrifice will target the nearest character and it will kill them. No, it'll target the lowest HP character and kill them. The consume will target the nearest character, but if it's just, let's say if it was a magic attack, it would make the AoE effect, but the AoE effect's target list would be like different. No, would it? Would it? I think if I make it, if I made a friendly damaging attack, then it will damage my allies. So we could just do something like this. Except, yeah, so it would be like, if weapon.names.contains consume, like that. And so then in the weapon, we don't want it to do negative damage. So we are damaging allies and healing ourselves. And it's a 1-to-1 lifesteal. And so let's say the damage, let's do like 10, 14, 18, 22. Attack speed is fine. It should probably be a little bit slower. And it has AoE? No. Small, very, very small AoE. We only want it to hit one person. Range. It's fine at 6 probably. And so let's give that a try. So we'll do it the same way. We'll just make it one of his starting upgrades. And what he should do is just like kind of effectively just keep biting at his allies. Let's see. Okay. So first things first. Once again. So friendly. Can go for the self. And in this case, we really don't want it to. So we can go, the easiest way to fix that, just in the case of this weapon, exclude self. So in the case of it being a heal, we just do, because it's just one weapon, exclude self for consume. So we do if weapon.names.contains consume if target is equal character is valid target equals false. So that's working on the same logic that a healer won't target a character at max health and also won't target themselves. And if we're using consume, then do not target yourself. And it should be like, I'm just going to go out there and say, just going to multiply this by 2 because it should be powerful, right? And then we'll just go and explain that in the upgrades. So consume drains HP of allies to heal hero. I think people can just figure it out, right? So it has a damage value and a heal value. Yeah, I think people can just figure it out. And of course, with things like lifesteal, that will be quite powerful. I'm pretty damn certain this is going to work, but let's test it for good measure. Summon a random ally on heal. Oh, that could be powerful. Ah. Should we like not do it if we haven't taken damage? Wait, why can't they really hurt me? Oh, iframes. That'll certainly make for an interesting build. Should he avoid targeting? So we could also say on the weapon container. So we could actually just do it in the same place here. Target equals character. All character dot HP dot current 8 health is equal to character is greater than or equal to character dot max HP. So if the target is the character, or if in any case so then there's no target and he won't do it. Let's just try that out quickly. And I am going to wrap up the stream there because the more I do, the more likely I am to make mistakes at this point. Oh. What's wrong? This looks like some kind of bug that's not something. Yeah, that was a weird Unity bug. Yeah, so he's not doing it because we've got full health. But if I get less than full health, I will start consuming my allies. Give me your health. Thank you. Okay, great. Yeah, I mean, I like, so is it that fun mechanically? I don't know, but I think it's really cool. I think thematically it makes a lot of sense that in this game that is all about building your army and having allies, that the demon, the evil team, they go against that. Their whole thing is consuming their allies and using them as using them to empower themselves. So I think having those two spells is good. Right. Consume is done. So Resurrection. That's going to be a big one. We have a whole bunch of artifacts to do with Unholy. I think all that amounts to is, because undead can still heal, the blood mage, the having life steal and things like that, they can still effectively heal, but I want to make it so that they have artifacts. So a resurrection will count as a heal, but I think it should count as like 3 heals in terms of, or like 2 heals in terms of like proccing healing stuff. And I think that would just amount to, when you're playing as an undead, it just sort of says at the side somewhere, resurrections count as a heal. So unholy artifacts should just answer that. Fill hero roster, that's a huge one. That's like basically design. I've already designed most of the heroes, but basically like get all those heroes in there, even if they're placeholders, even if we change them later, get them in. Combo achievements is meh. Name change is a big one. But yeah, let's program in Resurrection, and then we got a big session of doing sprites for the new stuff. And again, it doesn't really matter if some of these things change as long as we have placeholders. And that's that. Okay, I think I'll do. Well, there's not many people here, so yeah, I think I'll just end the stream there. Okay, thanks very much for joining. Really makes a huge difference to me. Makes my day that people come in here, even if it's not too many. So yeah, thank you very much. Have a good evening. Bye.